Hello everyone, welcome to Edge Time. Today we have a knife that was lent to me to review by a friend. This is the Cold Steel Espada XL. This is not your everyday folding knife. This is an extremely large folding knife. There are large folding knives, then there are like XL folding knives, like the large Luzon from Cold Steel, stuff like that. And then there's this. Excuse me. This is a folding sword, in my opinion. And I know that there are bigger folding knives, like for example, I believe the Midgardsmesser Odin's toothpick is bigger, but this is still an extremely large pocket knife. And it is a pocket knife because it has a clip, and it can be carried in an extra large pocket. So, yeah. And it's actually not super thick, so it is somewhat pocketable. And having the thumb disc slash wave opener here actually makes it marginally practical for extreme everyday use. This is not something you would carry every day under normal situations. You will most likely, there are a lot of states in which you will get arrested for carrying this. You would definitely get strange looks if you carried this into the office. For me, being a landscaper, I would probably get strange looks carrying this, even though we're not an anti-knife culture landscaping, but it's still like, why are you carrying such a huge knife? But yeah, there are certainly situations in which this would be useful. Just if you have to cut large things, because it is a pain to try to cut super big things with a little knife. So, but with that said, this is still a really cool knife. It is Espada. I'm going to mess this up, but Espada actually means sword, I believe. So like this is sort of a Filipino-inspired design. Um, I'm trying to find an easy way to describe this knife. But yeah, I would just say it is inspired by Filipino style fighting knives. So yeah, we'll just get into the overall specifications and what I do and don't like about it, even though this is not a knife. This is one of those knives where my opinion doesn't really matter. It is what it is, and you like it or you don't. But let's get into it. So this knife, I'm going to have to measure it in two parts because it is well over a foot long. Um, so the blade is 8 inches long. This is an 8 inch long blade. The blade alone is longer than some of my largest folding knives, um, which is slightly ridiculous. So, like I said, 8 inches in overall blade length, which gives you about 7.25 inches of overall edge length. That's a lot of cutting edge length. You can do a lot of work with this thing. And then the handle length from here back is about 9 inches. So overall, let's see, 8 plus 9, this is a 17-inch long knife. It's a very large knife. And let's go ahead and measure it closed. It has a stiff lock, which is a triad lock. The triad lock is one of the strongest locks ever made. In fact, I believe it is regarded as the strongest lock ever made. It is incredibly strong, very easy to use. Here is a slightly smaller knife, also utilizing the triad lock, the airlight. And the more I look at these two knives, I realize they are actually kind of similar. They both have, well, they're similar in that they both have black G10 and triad locks. Other than that, the similarities pretty much end. But anyway, like I was saying, triad lock, very good, reliable, strong lock, and very easy to maintain and disassemble. So let's get a closed length on this thing before I wander off into another tangent here. 9.5 inches. This is going to take up some room in your pocket, as I was saying. It's not super thick. In fact, it is only marginally thicker. In fact, no, it is exactly the same thickness as my Spartan Aster here. But it's considerably longer. So let's go ahead and actually compare it to a few different knives here, and I may have to get into my knife drawer. In fact, let's go ahead and do this. This is going to be a good sense of just how huge this knife is, if you can't tell already. Let's get out an SE Laser Strike. It is much, much larger. It is almost twice as large as an SE Laser Strike. This is not a small knife. And let's go ahead and put it up against the smallest real folding knife that I own. This little K-bar. So yeah, the Espada XL is quite a large knife. Let's go ahead and put these guys away and do some normal knife size comparisons. Sorry if that was loud. SE makes loud sheets. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spartan store. Let's get out a bug out here. And let's see. We'll put it up against, I'm actually not sure where my Spyderco Pair 3 is right now, otherwise I would show that one. But let's put it up against a mini AK-74 here. So yeah, it's quite a large knife. I don't think I need to show any more here. Go ahead and put all these guys away. Alright, so just overall, so materials here, this is a massive slab of AUS 10A. AUS 10A is an incredible steel that is also what is on the Airlight here. I do not know the exact metallurgical properties of AUS 10A, or any steel for that matter, but I know that it is the AUS series, so AUS 8, AUS 10, they are easy to sharpen. That is like sort of their high point. They are easy to sharpen. They do have good edge retention. They obviously don't have the very best corrosion resistance. They're not totally rust proof, because this blade has rusted a little bit, but it's certainly not bad. So yeah, I would say if this was made out of 1095, well, 1095 isn't a good example, because 1095 is anything but rust proof, but if this knife even had just slightly lower corrosion resistance, then this thing would be pretty rusty. But as you can see, it's done a pretty good job of resisting corrosion over the use that it's seen. So yeah, and then the suffix here, AUS10A, I believe the A means annealed, so this is a slightly softer AUS10, for what that's worth. I do notice differences in knife steels when I'm using them, but I haven't noticed a whole lot of difference between AUS 8 and AUS 10A. But I mean, I'm sure if I used knives with those steels enough, I would start to notice a difference. But anything in the AUS family is going to be a good steel, and you're going to pay for it too with knives like this. This knife is made in Taiwan, which is really nice. I believe a lot of these more expensive cold steels are made in Taiwan, and Taiwanese knives are better. They cost more. They're better built. Everything. Chinese knives aren't bad. The Chinese knife industry has gotten a lot better over the past few years, but Taiwanese knives are still just that little bit better. This is a massive clip point blade. The blade stock thickness is actually not. It's not gigantic, but it is pretty thick. It's stout, and it doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel strangely thin. It doesn't feel strangely thick on this knife. It actually feels proportional. So yeah, like I was saying, huge clip point blade here. Handle is standard, I guess you'd say peel ply textured G10. It of course has cold steels, triad lock. There's a lot of different ways to hold this knife. You could choke up like this. You have all the room in the world to do that up here. You can hold it like this, which is fine. So that basically, it doesn't really lock in your hand. It seems like it would with this little hump here, but it doesn't. I still have some room to move. And then if you need to have some extra reach and do some extra damage, you can actually hold it back here. I would never hold this knife back here, but you can. And it's obviously intended for you to do so in extreme situations. And I would say that if your life depended on it, I would not recommend this. You could use this thing two-handed. That can't be said about most folding knives. If I tried to put two hands on my Aster, for example, no, not anywhere remotely close. That's not going to happen. On the Espada XL, you most certainly can. It feels a little weird, but you can actually do it. With room to spare, even. So, yeah, it's a big knife, if you couldn't tell already. The clip is probably my least favorite thing about this knife. I like deep carry clips, so it's silly for me to complain about this on this knife, because this knife would be impossible to deep carry. You would not be able to get it out of your pocket, and you would be carrying the full, what was it, 8.5 inches or somewhere around there of handle length in your pocket. That would not be physically possible to carry with most standard pockets. I mean, this is difficult to fit into normal jean pockets as it is, and so having a deep carry clip would just be worse. So yeah, and the clip is just, it doesn't look particularly strong to me, but it's seen a rough life, obviously. It's got a lot of the coating removed and stuff, and it hasn't broken yet. So it's obviously not, it's not weak. We'll say that. But yeah, that's most of what I have to say about this knife. This is, once again, not a knife that I would really carry on an everyday basis, but there are certainly uses for this, especially for like as a knife to keep in your truck or something for self-defense. This is unbeatable. This knife is massive, and you could deal a lot of damage with this knife very quickly. So yeah, for self-defense, stuff like that, and if you do choose to carry it in your pocket, you could open it very quickly with the help of the thumb disc / wave opener here. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I did, checking out this massive knife, and please also check out my disassembly of this knife, which is not as hard as you'd think. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day.